everybody, it's Amy from Winterwood Studio and welcome to today's video. This is going to be a mishmash video. So I do have a box of art supplies from Blick to open. This is actually part 2 of a art haul, except that part 1, which is the bigger part, is going to go up after this. I didn't plan well. So we have a box of supplies to open and try out today. Maybe you noticed my little art room here is all moved around. I did some rearranging and organizing, so we're gonna talk about that a little bit. I have some art from the Sketchbook Serenity Challenge that I get to show you. And we will also be talking today about how to be gentle with ourselves and stay motivated and still create art even when we're sick or we have chronic health problems, because I have had a hard week. So I've got my pumpkin spice chai, and yes, I know it's almost April. It's my favorite. What can I say? And it is cold and it is snowy. You probably saw from the beginning of the video. So grab yourself something cozy to drink if it is cold where you are, like it is here. And if it's nice and warm and sunny, lucky duck, grab yourself something cool and refreshing to drink and come on in and let's have a nice little chat and make some art. So I thought about doing like a top 5 tips for staying creative when you're sick or dealing with a chronic illness, but honestly I didn't even have the energy to do that. So we're just going to have a nice relaxed time. I'm going to chat directly to you while we open these supplies, and we'll just have a cozy relaxed time on a nice sunny Saturday, even if it's cold. Speaking of which, it's actually Monday here, but this will go up on Saturday. But actually, no, it's Tuesday. You guys, I'm all screwed up. There was no school yesterday, which is why I'm screwed up. We had another snow day. What is today? It's March 25th. We've had more snow days in March than we have all year. And so we got a foot of snow on Sunday and Monday, and they're saying that we are going to get another 5 to 10 inches next Saturday and Sunday. So I'm not real excited about that. I was ready for summer. So what do we have here? I don't even know if I remember. Okay. I'm trying to find the most exciting things. Okay, there's not as much in here. There's more in part 1 of this, which is not up yet, because like I said, I didn't plan well. I'm gonna take the big thing out first. So, I got a big block of the Fabriano Artistico Extra White 100% cotton in hot pressed for an illustration project that I'm working on that I'm not talking about yet. But I needed, this way is the perfect length, and then this way I think like an inch too tall, but better too tall than too short. And it's a block of 20. So this should be perfect for what I need it for. This is a lovely hot press paper. I think I might even like it better than the Arches hot pressed. I haven't totally made up my mind yet. It's definitely more affordable, but I think I might like it better. So stay tuned, because I'll have to give you guys a updated review on that at some point. And then, okay, this is something that I have never tried before. This brand of stuff. So there's several of them, but we'll open this single first. Okay, I'm gonna shake it. Ooh, the light is weird. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is the Amsterdam acrylic ink in reflex green. And holy moly, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it is fluorescent green. Very, very bright. Very bright. Again, anything fluorescent, great for illustrations or stuff you're going to scan in, although it's a heck of a time color correcting to make it look right in pictures, but really fun to work with, not light fast. The fluorescent aspect will start to fade very quickly. So keep that in mind. Okay, so then staying in this topic, I got some more. I ordered colors that I actually picked myself. They must have just put them in boxes, but these aren't sets. So then I got by the way, the Amsterdam is oh, the dog's gonna bark. The Amsterdam is Royal Talons, which I did not know. Very, very interesting to know. I got the reflex rose, and holy moly, again, fluorescent. I'm sure the camera's not picking that up all the way, but very fluorescent. And then I got the, shake it, shake it, shake it. I got the reflex yellow, very, very fluorescent, very fluorescent. And I'm gonna, before I take that last one out, because they're not all the fluorescent colors. Hopefully the colors, the light is okay. I got the reflex orange. Super pretty. Super pretty. Very, very orange. Very orange. And I got, oh no. Why are there two? Did I order two reflex orange? And then I think they put this one in by accident, or I screwed it up and ordered two, but another reflex orange. And then that's all the fluorescent colors. So then I wanted to just try a couple non-fluorescent colors to see what I thought. So I just picked up some that I thought I liked the color of. So this is the sky blue. Sky blue, very pretty. And this is the warm gray. And I don't know, I think the camera cut off a minute ago, so I don't know if I was talking about it, but the Amsterdam company is the same company that makes the Royal Talons sketchbooks that I love so much. So I thought, let's try their ink and see what we think. They are light fast rated. I would assume these are not light fast. No. But these two are light fast rated and they're both good. So this is the warm gray, so that's good to know. I just thought this would be a nice undercolor for things. And then, not related, but you can see everything's moved around here. Maybe I'm gonna rotate you for just a second. Rotate, rotate, rotate. So hopefully you can see the open space above my desk there. I can no longer see the camera, so I can't tell. But I got these little floating shelves that are supposed to hold a few pounds, like 5 or 10. And I thought I could like, I have 4, and I thought I could put some of my inks up here so they're easily accessible. We'll see. We'll see how that goes, but I'm doing a little reorganization of this room in here. And then the last, I guess, not thing, because there's more than one, but the last type of thing I got where I expanded my collection of my Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils. I hope I don't look too bad. It was a rough week. We'll talk about that in a second. I got the 36 set for Christmas, and I have just been loving them for illustration work. And I definitely wanted some more like muted type colors. So I wanted more than this, but sorry, my dog was barking, so I had to stop talking there. I don't know where I left off, but I've been using the 36 set of Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils I got for Christmas a ton for my illustration work, and I really wanted some more muted colors. I used my first real affiliate check from Blick. I just used it as store credit, so I got a nice big, I had to restock a bunch of my watercolors and stuff, which you'll see in part 1 when it goes up. And I would like more of these, but this was what I had, so I got these. Here, well, I'll tell you all the colors as we go through, but I got the Cinnamon 189, and I got the Permanent Green Olive 167, and I got the Sky Blue in 146, and I got the Coral 131, and I got the bistre in 179, and these are all 3s, although this is a 2. I thought I mostly picked 3s. 3s or 2s, I guess. I'm trying to keep them somewhat light fast, although I wouldn't use them probably for anything other than illustration work. This is Earth Green 172 that I would be scanning in anyway. I think their 2s are still good. Their 1s are not, but I think their their 2s are considered good and their 3 are considered permanent. So this is 132 beige red. I did not get any of the 1s. I know that. Caput mortem 169. This is the chromium green opaque 174, and I know there was one other chromium green that I really wanted, but they were all sold out. This is crimson 134. And we got caput mortem violet in 263. And chrome oxide green 278. And brown ochre 182. And then the very last one I got burnt umber 280. So that is my little bit of new supplies. So as I've gotten older, I've been learning how very important it is to actually take care of myself and be kinder and gentler to myself and not push myself so hard. Something that I've struggled with my whole life. I tend to be a very motivated, very driven person, and it's very hard for me to relax or just take a day off or not feel like I should be constantly working, whether it's doing something for my job or my family or whatever. And every now and then it seems like it catches up with me. And this past week has been one of those weeks. I don't think I was doing a great job, and it caught up with me. And I will be on to talk about it here in just a second, but I just thought I'd pop on and just give you a little heads up, I guess, as to what has been happening. But here's my beautiful little sunny studio area all ready to go. I just went and warmed up my tea a little, but I thought we'd talk a little bit about what I do to keep going when I'm not feeling well. And just for some context, I have Crohn's disease. If you watch my channel, you know that. I am in remission, but I have a section of my intestines that have scar tissue in them. And so it's very narrow there, and sometimes the food gets stuck there and causes a partial obstruction. If it goes through, then I'm fine. If at some point it becomes a full obstruction, then it's immediate emergency surgery and all of that. I've been very lucky. I haven't had to have surgery yet for my Crohn's. 80% of Crohn's patients will eventually have to have surgery. However, I'm kind of putting it off. Like, I have been told at this point now that I should be having exploratory surgery to find that area and see if they need to cut it out. But I've heard too many horror stories. Or hopefully that's better. I've heard too many horror stories about people who ended up waking up with, like, you know, feet and feet of their intestines removed, or a ostomy bag. I'm not going to get into it. But anyway, so I'm supposed to have it. I haven't had it. And I know that that's maybe not super smart. But, so I do occasionally get partial obstructions. And that's what happened last week. So, you know, you get really nauseous. There's blindingly bad pain. And it can last for a while. You have to go on a liquid diet. I take a special kind of Ensure. You can't have anything solid until it resolves itself. So that was what was happening last week, and I didn't get a whole lot of sleep, combined with, you know, feeling nauseous and having lots of pain. So what I do to keep going during those times: first of all, make it as easy on yourself as you can to do art. So depending on how bad I feel, sometimes I'll come in here and do some art, but I felt so bad last week that I ended up just taking my iPad and drawing on the couch so I could be comfy and cozy. I was wearing cozy clothes, I was all tucked up on the couch, and I had my iPad and my Apple Pencil. That's my, like, when I'm feeling the worst kind of thing. Otherwise, sometimes I'll just come in here and work on my sketchbook. Sometimes if I feel well enough, I might do something bigger, but make it as easy and accessible as you can for yourself. So, and try to do something that you feel somewhat interested in or inspired. I don't know if you can really feel excited when you're feeling super bad, but something that makes you feel like you have a little bit of creativity. However, if you are feeling so bad that all you can do is, like lay down and watch movies, then, do that. This isn't a thing where you should be murdering yourself. If you feel really bad and you feel like you can't work, then you need to give yourself permission to rest. You need to give yourself permission to recuperate, and permission to do whatever will help you most in the moment. And that's where the whole concept of being gentle with yourself comes in, because sometimes you do need to be gentle with yourself. And I think a lot of us, me especially, feel like we just have to always keep going, and we always have to take care of our families, or be normal and not show that there's anything wrong, and just keep going and going and going. And I can tell you from experience that if you keep going and going when you're already feeling bad, sometimes it gets really, really bad and you end up in a place you don't want to be. So you have to make sure that you give yourself permission to take care of yourself, because as they say, you can't pour from an empty cup, which again I found out the hard way. So being gentle for yourself, I mean, that's really something only you know. So for me, it involved, tucking up on the couch with my iPad. I read some good books. I had lots of my favorite tea. Watched several movies. I watched TV. We've been watching, I don't know how I missed it when it was on, but my husband and I and our kids, we've been streaming The Goldbergs on Hulu. We have like the Disney Plus and Hulu together. Not affiliated or sponsored by them. Not really happy with the whole ad thing. But anyway, we've been watching The Goldbergs on there, and it's very funny, and almost feels comforting because it's set in the 80s, and I was, growing up during the 80s, so it feels comforting to me. But it's very funny, and it's important to try to laugh when you're not feeling good. If you have fuzzy pets, cuddle with them, pet them, ask for help if you need it. I'm not very good at that. I'm trying to get better. But take care of yourself, because I can tell you from experience that if you don't, you are probably going to end up in a worse spot than you would have if you had just taken some time to rest. So here I'm doing an exercise in my sketchbook. This is for my Sketchbook Serenity Challenge, and this was for the Jungle Life Day. I'm not sure which it is. But basically, this exercise is where you don't do any sketching at all. You have your references, and you're just putting in the rough shapes that you see in the reference photo. It's a good way to help yourself loosen up and not be so meticulous. And I've been doing this a lot lately because I'm trying to find joy and fun in my art again. And I have to say that this is one of the exercises that I've been doing the most, because I feel like it's really helpful. It really has made me realize that I don't always have to sit down and do a meticulous sketch from start to finish. Well, I'm trying to get away from that anyway, doing meticulous sketches. I think I was talking about it last week. I was talking about it to someone, but recently, like in the last couple of months, I was working on the sketch for a piece that I wanted to do, and I was on my 9th time of redrawing it because it wasn't perfect. And I just kept doing it over and over and over, and by the time it was almost like a whole day, and my neck hurt, my back hurt, and I had a headache, and I was feeling super angry and crabby and frustrated. And even at this 9th time, I still didn't feel like it was as perfect as it could be. And I just looked up and I said, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why is it really that important to me that something's perfect, that I'm going to waste an entire day being unhappy and doing a process I hate? And that was sort of, and I talked about that, I think not last week, but the week before in my video about how I talked about how sketchbooking every day has taught me that I'm doing art totally wrong, and the epiphany I had. And that was really the main instigating event that sort of started to kick everything off for me. And I realized I just was not happy. I wasn't happy with my process and the way I was making art. And the thing is, I'm still struggling. Like, I'm still struggling with this whole, if it doesn't look super realistic, it's not worthwhile as art thing. And, like, it's so weird, because the artists I like, for the most part, aren't super realistic artists. I love, I've always loved Vincent van Gogh, but I also love, like, Cézanne and Fauvism and Impressionism and Monet and Manet, and, like, it's not, I'll look at something that's super realistic and be like, wow, that person is really good at, drawing what they see. But, like, when I do it myself, at the end results, like, even though I can tell it's realistic, it often feels empty to me, and the process to get there is just excruciating. But even, like, these tigers that I'm doing here, like, especially that one on the upper left, I ended up painting over his face like 3 times because I felt like it wasn't good enough. Which is ridiculous, because it was never meant to be super realistic in the first place. And, like, why did I feel the need to paint over it 3 times? Why didn't I just leave it the way it was? I don't know. I do know. I'm worried I'm going to be judged for it being not realistic and be found wanting. Like, it's not realistic. It's not good. Don't, which is so, I don't, like I said, I'm still struggling. I kind of think maybe the more I do it and get comfortable showing it, like, I think the only way to, like, get over the fear of making artwork that's not super realistic is just to keep doing it and keep showing it until, like, it's not scary anymore. And the funny thing is, like, even when I was making super realistic artwork, it could look super realistic and not be good. You can have artwork that is super realistic, but it's not good. Or you can have artwork that's also not realistic at all and not good. It's not, I don't know. So, and there you can see I'm painting over its face. That's why I didn't tape all of them, but this was one of them where I painted over his face because I was like, this is not good enough to show. And, like, why did I do that? And I've talked about this on here before, because I've always felt to some extent that realistic art, when I'm done with it, like, I get frustrated and I often feel like it's empty. And I've talked about this before, but if you have any tips about getting over the fear of, like, changing your style and showing your art as a new style, I would love it if you drop it in the comments, because I could use the advice, and I'm sure there are other people watching who could also use the advice. So today was one of those days where I decided I did just need to do some play and nothing serious. This exercise, the shape exercise, I'm assuming I showed it too, is something good to do when you just want to dab paint on the paper and not think too much or do a whole lot of prep or worry about being tight or super realistic. So if you haven't tried it, I highly suggest that you try it out. I hope you liked today's mishmash video. I hope it was entertaining, or you learned something, or you saw a new art product you would like to try. Thank you for being here with me today. If you haven't hit the like or subscribe button yet, it would be great if you did. It's a free, no-cost way for you to help support my channel, and it tells YouTube that this is not crap. and that it's good content. And if you would like to check out my Patreon, that will be linked down below. I always link everything down below. I probably forgot to say that today. I don't know why I did, but everything will be linked down below if you want to check anything out. And until next time, happy creating!